We are going to talk about anxiety today, and I am not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, nor do I have any professional ethos in this conversation, but I do have anxiety, so let's talk about it. If I am reading the room correctly, we are collectively having a moment of anxiety. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think it is. This is pretty common in periods of transition, even if it's a good transition, and we are most definitely transitioning right now. For readers, this might mean that you see a lot of very different types of writing. Female rage, anyone? Or you might see writers pushing back deadlines because we just can't right now. For writers, our anxiety might be manifesting in a lot of different ways. Maybe we're stuck in a never-ending doom scroll. Maybe we're wondering if anything is worth writing anymore. Maybe we're wondering if our silly little romance novels mean anything. Maybe we're wondering if we're actually good at this, or if we're terrible writers and no one has the guts to tell us. I cannot relate to any of these. I can't relate. I can't relate. Yes, I can. No, these things are not at all related to current events, but that's not how anxiety works. Anxiety finds the worst case scenarios and latches onto them in the form of what ifs. They're like little demons just waiting to be fed, and their favorite food is your insecurities, whatever they may be. If you've never had anxiety and you're suddenly feeling an iteration of one or more of these things and wondering why the hell this is happening to you when it has never happened before, welcome to the club none of us want to be a part of. I'm so sorry you're here. When I was in college, undergrad, my university hosted a creative writing conference. One of the session presenters was talking about writer's block and imposter syndrome. She suggested having a notebook next to your computer for you to start drawing a spiral. So, like, you just draw these little spirals. You're supposed to keep the coiled lines together as close together as possible without touching. And it's really hard to do. But her point was that the demons in your brain telling you that you don't know what to write or whatever you're going to write or have written is hot garbage. Like, they need something else to do. Give them something to do, she exclaimed. Try it, it works. So we all busted out our notebooks, and this was the early aughts in a creative writing bachelor's program. So we all had notebooks at the ready. And we started spiraling, not anxiety spiraling, drawing spirals. You understand. I was 20 years old at the time. So I thought, this is cool, but I can't see myself ever using it. And I look back now and I think, oh, you sweet summer child. It wasn't until my third book that I started the spiral thing again. The first two I wrote were so easy to write. I had no expectations and no clue how harsh people could be about my writing. And since I drafted The Right Time While the Right Place was still with my editor, The Right Time was ready to go by the time The Right Place was published. It wasn't until The Right Choice that I started to feel it. The Right Place had blown up a little bit. I was much more aware of marketing strategy and social media, and I wanted my trajectory to continue. Scratch that. I'm an Enneagram Type 3. I'm an achiever. Anything less than the success I had seen previously would be a failure. Spoiler alert, that's not how publishing works. It later occurred to me that the spirals I was drawing looked kind of unhinged, like serial killer adjacent. So I started coloring instead because it looked less like insanity and more like something soothing. But same principle. Coloring sheets with tiny spaces are good demon snacks too. And at the end, you get a pretty picture. If you've ever seen Instagram pictures of my desk and wondered why on earth I have so many colored pencils and pens when everything is digital, now you know why. I have been in therapy for my anxiety for years. One of the major themes is not engaging with the anxious thoughts. When you engage, they get bigger and harder to fight off. Doom scrolling, by the way, is engaging with the anxious thoughts. So get off those phones for a while. If you feed the demons, they grow. Give them a task and they shrink. My friend who passed away at the end of last school year had a saying she used to repeat: not my circus, not my monkeys. I love it. I say it often. It works really well when you're anxious too, because what it means is essentially, I am not going to engage with that. This isn't about me, and I'm not going to worry about it right now. Or If it is about me, as my therapist likes to say, just because it's your circus, it doesn't mean you have to buy a ticket. My husband is a newcomer to these anxious thoughts. For a time, he was having trouble sleeping. When I asked him what was going on, he described a dream. I'm not huge on dream analysis, but this one was a no-brainer for me. He said he was in a zoo enclosure trapped with a lion and incidentally a monkey. He wasn't going to mess with the lion because duh. So he ran away from it and climbed a pole. But the monkey wouldn't leave him alone. It climbed up, it sat on his shoulder, it started poking him, it started tugging his hair, like monkey stuff. So I asked him, "What did you do about the monkey?" And he said, "I punched him." And I said, "Well, what did the monkey do after that?" And he said it got really angry and started scratching at him. And then the lion woke up and it was angry too. So I side-eyed him so hard, but he was adamant that he had no idea what this could possibly mean. So luckily, I guess he's got me who makes a habit of dealing with symbolism. I don't know. So I told him the lion clearly represents those big anxious thoughts that you know not to even go near. They're so big, you can't do anything about them anyway, so it's best to just leave them alone. But that little monkey, he's the little thoughts, the ones you don't see as a threat. You look at it and think, oh, it's a cute little monkey. And maybe it is cute, but it's also a little demon and it's going to pester you and bug you until you pay attention to it. When you punch it, well, it's like feeding the demons. It's going to get mad. It's going to wake the lion, which is exactly what you were trying to avoid. But if you ignore it, it'll eventually lose interest and leave you alone, and the lion will stay asleep. So don't feed the demons. Give them something else to do. Don't punch the monkey. Let him do his thing and he'll eventually go away. And definitely, for sure, without a doubt, do not wake up the lion. Okay. Have I lost it? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. If you look at my notebook full of spirals, you'd certainly think so. But I think it's sound advice. Maybe it'll help you too. And remember, if you find your anxious thoughts are more overwhelming than this simple advice can help you with, then I highly recommend seeking out a therapist. Mine saved my life, and that's not an exaggeration. Psychology.com has a therapist directory that can help.